Welcome to Galactic Grandmother Heart to Heart. My name is April, and my special returning guest today is Jemaa Sonciré. We're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to both of our hearts. So, welcome.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and having these amazing conversations with you. And you and I, we get good downloads and our guides know each other. But yeah, it's a pleasure being here.
Hey. Today, our subject is about the Akashic Records library, past life regressions. It could be present life. Would you like to just dive in and share some of your knowledge about the Akashic Records, since you're an
Yeah.
Akashic Records librarian?
To me, it is the quantum space of all that is, where all the information is. And when we have the concept of there is no time, so everything's happening in that space, which for some reason I'm able to read it really well. And people's energy fields and their Akashic records or quantum space of all that is, of their past lives, of current life, like what they've gone through throughout their life. And ultimately, it's the inner journey to clear out the traumas on those other lifetimes and this lifetime as well. And then I access them differently than others. Like I have my guides that it's like it happens fast. It's like a compute. It's like I just go in really quick and I just will receive information from the person's higher self, their team that's working with them and mine. And so it happens like super fast, like speed of light, where I just get information and tap into that Akashic records, quantum space. And I know there's like some people, they access it differently. And then Edgar Casey, he actually did readings and helped people with health ailments. And he even would say Akashic records back in his day.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And everyone can do it with practice and learning it correctly and what energy is and tapping into those unseen realms.
I looked at a short video of Teal Swans. He was describing the Akashic Records as just like you were talking about, the Akashic Records, because they're in the quantum field, basically, the
Okay.
quantum
Yeah.
field of all that is. And
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what my guides have told. That's what I've been saying for
uh,
years. It's just the quantum field of all that is. And yeah. Oh,
that
cool.
it's nonlinear, and our
Right.
linear brains need to, for the most part, unless you have a strong connection with your higher self and you're comfortable working in that quantum field, most people that haven't done that yet, they need some kind of a linear visualization. Like I'm sure so many of us, I know I do, a meditation which guides person along a visual that they
Yeah.
can go with to the Akashic records
Yeah.
and be able to conceptualize the Akashic records library so that they
Hmm.
can access their own Akashic records. I thought that was great because she just was saying exactly what we've talked about in the past is
Yeah.
just nonlinear. It's difficult for our brains to conceptualize everything
Hmm.
outside of 3D. So we do
Right.
need a little guidance, and I agree. Everyone can access their own Akashic records. With me, I started way back about 45 years ago when I was about 30, going to spiritual classes where we were doing past life regressions.
Yeah. Cool.
And after doing a lot of those with my teacher and some other students, I started spontaneously having past life regressions. And then
Hmm.
after that, at some point in time now, it's just very easy, like you said it was for me to tap into my own personal Akashic records.
Quantum space of all that is, everything is happening. And we can tap into that and grab that information and help in this now moment. It's all for our spiritual growth. So it's there because we're here in these human bodies, these avatar vessels for a short period. And we have all of these tools to help us expand and grow.
I think the key to accessing your own Akashic records is being able to shift your frequency enough, your frequency of your energy enough to be in resonance to go into your own Akashic records. And that's why it is kind of important at first to be able to work with someone to help you do that through meditation. You could do it yourself, but it's just easy, at least the first however many times, to work with someone. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so because well that's why there's these great books out there. There's a lot of Akashic Records schools, but you want to find the right one too that you resonate with.
Right.
The biggest is trust. Trust what's coming in, trust yourself, trust that voice, the guidance, the sensations in your body. And that's why that inner work that we talk about is so important. Clearing trauma, anger, these lower frequencied emotions, but everything is frequency and aligning to that frequency of the Akashic records is very important.
Right.
And starting and guided meditations. I love guided meditations. I still will hop on with guided meditations that are how to connect with your higher self. I like to lay down and listen, like, oh, walking on the beach. There you see yourself. Your higher self really gets you in that space.
You're aligning your own frequency with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was researching, this is some of the benefits of the Akashic records that I
Mhm.
came across, which I totally agree with, is that the Akashic records help you understand your past life influences on your current life. It could be physical for sure. And it also gives you clarity about your life purpose and currently. Probably one of the most important things is to heal emotional wounds from
Mhm.
past experiences. And I just, a couple of days ago, I did a past life regression, and my client, instead of going into a past life, actually went back to when he was about 4 in this lifetime. And it was a current lifetime review, which gave us the opportunity to move forward. It seemed like it was about every 10 years. And there were a couple of time periods where he had experienced some emotionally traumatic things. And he was able to look at it now from an adult perspective. And we were able to
Cool.
release those emotional traumas and clear him. And when
Mm.
we were done, he just felt wonderful. And that, I
Oh,
think that's the healing part, whether you're going into a past life or a current life regression, is to be able to go back, see it with a new perspective, and release and clear. That's the
yeah.
shadow work right there.
Oh, it is. And a lot of times it's not as easy. It can take a little bit, but that's so awesome because that is it. So it's tapping into that field of where is the trauma. That's what it's all about, the inner work, and that it's all about clearing those traumas and then the trauma loops because it's for this now. And that's amazing that you helped him clear that so he can be in this now moment free of those loops
Right.
that can be debilitating. And it's easy to do because our brains want to take over and then kind of do the negative looping. Like, oh, this happened to me when I was, it's like this story. So it's you want to break free from that story, whether it's a past life or in this life. And the Akashic Records can help you with that, like you just said.
He had a very traumatic ending to a relationship in this life. Now, flash forward about almost 8 or 10 years, he's in a budding new relationship. So the
Oh,
divine timing was perfect to go back to that previous relationship that ended so badly and clear all that out, all those,
yeah.
traumatic memories and the lower emotions and so forth. So it's like he's going into his new relationship with a clean slate.
Those are all lessons too. So the bad relationship, there's a core place where it starts and it has nothing to do with the person. So everything's a hologram or reflection of
Mhm.
where did it stem from? So where did that bad relationship stem from? Was it in this life when he was 4 or a past life of abandonment? Because that can be a reoccurring, in this life, your parents get divorced or you have a father that leaves and you have this abandonment, but then you continue to have that lesson show up through relationships. So, and we all need help. So, like assistance. So, it is good to have someone that you trust tune in for you to see that and to go, oh, it stems from this past life where your wife died and your whole family, and then you have this abandonment wound that you're carrying into this life. And then until we recognize it and clear it, it can keep showing up. That's the spiritual work. That's the expansions. It'll just keep showing up. It's nothing to do with the other person. And that's what you do. You helped clear, and I do. We help clear those energies and help a client understand that that experience is for the spiritual growth and doesn't define
Right.
this. It's not who we really are. That's not really, we're infinite souls.
The past life regressions where you go, well, you're actually tapping into the Akashic records to review past lives was so transformative for me at age 30. I mean, at
Mm-hmm.
that time, the first spontaneous past life regression I had was actually about my husband at that time, about how I was given very specific details about how we had been together in another lifetime, how that relationship ended, and I had a chance to redo it in this
Mm.
lifetime on a very,
Oh,
a high level, the way that we're supposed to end things. And so when you experience all the emotions, for me, it's like seeing a movie, being in the movie, feeling the emotions, seeing the action, and then being able to relate to it into this lifetime. It was just
mhm.
amazing. And it helped me because it was just within a year of when I left that
Mm,
husband. And so it
yeah.
was very important for me to know I didn't want to make the same mistake that I had in the previous life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I just had a client, they had done already a past regression of a lifetime or they remembered, but this can happen. So things can show up in the body as well without any injury, like, oh, I have a sore neck, and it stays sore until they realize that they got injured in battle, like axed. And once that cleared, once they healed that timeline, it's still happening until we clear that trauma, and then that timeline gets collapsed or it merges with source, and so and then it heals you in the now. That's what my guides have shown me. So doing that, their neck pain went away. That's how important the past life regression can be. Yeah, figuring out stuff like that.
Think of an experience where I was sitting in a chair waiting. We were waiting for a speaker, and I kept having this sharp pain in my back, and I kept moving around and moving around. And suddenly the lady behind me tapped me on my shoulder and she says, I'm an energy healer, and would you like me to take care of that pain for you? And I said, well, yes. She made it go away. And after the fact, she told me, you had an old wound from a sword from a past lifetime. And she said,
How
I removed that sword, I cleansed and healed the wound, and it was instantaneous. I mean, I didn't have any more pain at all.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, there's that. And then there's lineage too, because now that just reminded me of a client a long time ago. She had lower back pain and always, and she was young. She was like in her early 20s, and she just said it's just chronic. She never got injured or anything, but just always had this lower back on one side. And so I was doing an energy healing for her and then tuning in at the same time. And I was like, did you have like a great grandfather that worked on the high rises, those steel workers that were way up? And she's, oh my God, yeah, I had a grandfather that worked on those and fell and broke his hip
Oh,
and didn't die. And it was the same side as her. So lineage energy, like when things say, oh, it runs in the family, it's just energy. And so we can clear that. We don't have to keep carrying the an energy that doesn't serve us in this now anymore. So I helped her clear that. Her pain went away because we cut that cord that was coming through her grandfather. Yeah, fascinating.
in my case,
Yeah.
being American Indian and my ancestors were on the Trail of Tears, that
Mm.
lineage attached to the DNA of that ancestral energy would have been of great suffering and trauma and emotional pain and so forth coming down to me. And in this lifetime, I've been able to clear that. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't carry on to my kids.
Because
That's it.
that's what it is. You do the clearing so it doesn't get passed down and then that negative looping keeps the run in the family, keeps going down the generation. Because yeah, so it's super important. And that's the inner work. This is part of doing that. So we do clear that and we don't get looped into the negative timelines anymore.
And
Yeah.
that's
Good
all
job.
going back to the Akashic Records past life information, which
Yeah.
shows you what's attached to your family lineage energies are there. So it's not just you.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating. See, I still get fascinated by it because it's you can't see it. I just trust, and I just always have. So I just trust that that's because I've seen it work over and over, and I've seen information that comes through where I'm like, whoa, you
Yes.
know. Uh, I'm sure you do too. We're like, oh, yeah, I don't know why I said that, that person needed to hear. They're like, oh yeah, because this and that and that.
When you're doing past life regressions, I think it's it can be kind of common that you'll get messages from your spirit guides or deceased loved ones, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. So yeah, they come in all the time. So I don't claim to be a past life regression person or a medium. I just know I can go into that space and communicate with loved ones if they want to show up, and I'll see past lives for people, but that's not my superpower. So like a person that's past regression person, like they can really go in there and see all the lifetimes. I'll just see what needs to be shown in that in a reading, and loved ones that want to say something or come in.
I would say I'm an Akashic Records guide because I can see past lifetimes for people, but what I like to do is lead them in meditation to the Akashic Records, where their own Akashic Records guide is waiting for them to take them
Mhm.
to pull the book on a particular life that's important for them. And I'm the guide to take them there so that the client can access their records. And then I'll
Yeah, I
take
love
them back out because I really think that the more that people are in that frequency and are able
it.
to tap into it themselves, whether it's through a guided meditation by someone else, once they're there and they're tapping into that frequency, I think it becomes more
Mhm.
easily accessible.
No, it's beautiful because I had a session with you and it was amazing. So it's like you really hold that space to get into that frequency, and it is important. And that's why it's important to practice because most people aren't used to that energy frequency. They're used to the 3D. And so it's just the practice of, oh, this is what it feels like to be in the Akashic Records, which is, I feel, the same energy as nature. And it's in that beautiful, unconditional love field.
Yeah. I've always thought it was at least what we might term as six-dimensional frequency, but today Teal Swan was saying Akashic records are in the quantum field in more like she thinks the seventh dimensional in frequency.
Oh yeah, it's way up there. I agree with that. That's what my guides have said for decades. It's just the quantum field of all that is. And that feels like it's definitely in a different dimensional space than where our loved ones are, or Sat Squash that we just talked about, or the fairy. So there's all these different dimensional spaces. But I just see them as different spaces.
Right,
That doesn't necessarily go up. It's just in
right.
these different
Well,
fields.
our again, we have to work with our human mind, and our mind needs labels in order to try and understand things.
Yep.
The bands of frequencies are all together. It's just a matter of tuning in. And when we're not in
Mhm.
our bodies, it's a matter of intention to tune in to where we
Yeah.
want to go.
Total. And I like the analogy of the radio station. It's like static, trying to tune in, and you're like, oh, there we go. And that's what we do because we have energy fields. We are energy, and so it's tuning into what we want to tune in.
Do you have any personal experiences you'd like to share with regards to the Akashic records?
Just all my spiritual experiences of communicating with other beings on the other side would be part of the quantum space of all that is and receiving information because I've had so many.
Can you give us an example of a reading for a client that really affected them in a profound way by your being able to access that information for them?
How my gifts work is really clearing out traumas. Those come in, that's what their guides in that quantum space of all that is, being able to read where are their traumas and blocks and either in this life or another lifetime. And I connect with their higher self in that space and help them clear those. So where is it in that Akashic records, I guess, or quantum space that is keeping them stuck or looping? I'll help clients get in there, cut cords and break out of those trauma loops. Helped people heal, like that one woman that I said earlier, where we cleared her grandfather that fell off the sky scrape. Tapping into that quantum space and seeing that lineage for her helped clear that energy out. I've helped a client actually clear out and be in this now moment, feeling really good and aligned with who they are by forgiving major traumas in childhood.
Mhm.
So I will see, oh, that was a really dark timeline where your 5-year-old self had to deal with abuse. I have these steps to help clients clear that and bring forgiveness, love, and light to that timeline where that 5-year-old self experienced that abuse. And then so they're not carrying it in this now. So that would be a huge one where they can move forward without that. And that's one of the main fences is the childhood traumas in those dark families. So the light workers choose to go into these dark families. It's so horrible to have to, it's in that false matrix. It's what dark ones feed off of these traumas and such pure souls that are coming in. It's like the worst offense. So that's why I like to go in there and into that timeline because I go in with the client into that timeline where they're 5 years old and protect that 5-year-old. And I go through a whole process where they're with their 5-year-old self or whatever age and help clear and get. Now we're going into deep because then there we have entities that will move through. We have these dark entities that can move through families. And so the light workers see this, and that's what we're doing right now. This huge work is collapsing those dark timelines, clearing those traumas, knowing that we're here for this mission is to take out the dark. And light workers volunteered to go into these families and kick these dark entities' butts out. And where I put them is in a rehabilitation place until they can rehabilitate back to source. And that's just what my guides have me do. And that will break that lineage where they're creating these false timelines to keep us looping. So if your trauma is still looping in this now moment, it's still happening in the Akashic records, in that quantum space. It's still happening on that timeline. So we have to go in there and remove it.
It would seem like that same pattern or loop would be in previous lifetimes too.
Correct. It just would look different. There would be major trauma, maybe from several of the other lifetimes. But yes, because each of those lifetimes, to me, what I've been shown is a false matrix timeline. It's inverted. So I might step on some toes here. I don't think we need the dark to see the light. I don't believe in that. Like such evil, that is out of balance. I do not think that we need to experience such evil like some of the children and people experiencing such evil for our spiritual growth. No, I I believe that we can have an amazing experience and still understand emotions in these bodies without such evil and darkness. Like
Right.
that's done. So the shadow work, yeah, it's the shadow work is clearing out these timelines and traumas.
So it's this lifetime, but it's also, if you were to expand into the Akashic records, you'd see the same kind of looping of trauma and previous in the Akashic records. And once you
Right.
clear it here in this now, then it's automatically cleared in the energy in the past.
Correct. So if it's happening in this life, we go in there and do that. But if it's happening in a past life, like war, that's not natural.
Right.
So we have all these timelines where there's like a lot of war and battles and people getting killed like in horrific ways. The witches burned at the stake. So in this now moment, things might keep showing up in your life of not wanting to be ridiculed. So not speaking your truth, not showing who you really are because you are afraid you're going to get burned at the stake or something horrible is going to happen. And so that's why it's important to figure that out. Oh yeah, it was from that lifetime. That's the whole thing. These star seeds of like yourself coming in, going into these false timelines and trying to break it, trying to collapse it. We're coming in. So all you guys that have been like just have a lot of lifetimes, and I have lots of friends that just coming into the false timelines to just be the warriors on the front line to break it up, collapse the dark, and knew they were going to have to endure a lot of pain and suffering until now. So this lifetime is it. This has never happened in the history of planet Earth, our Mother Earth, of so much consciousness on the planet. I'm just so thankful for all of the star seeds, all you guys watching this.
A challenging but a beautiful time to be here to witness and to do our
Yeah.
part. I'm very grateful every day for the opportunities.
I'm not saying it's easy. Oh, I love being here, but we have to keep positive, have sense of humor.
Once
Stop
we
watching.
do enough of the inner work and we're able to embody more of our higher consciousness and make that real connection to our higher self, we cannot be enslaved anymore. We're free, we're sovereign. And that's what the whole goal of us speaking about different things is, just to assist others to regain as much sovereignty as they can. So we
Mhm.
want everyone to be free and live their best life.
Yes, absolutely. And back to our original timeline, that is free from this darkness, free from the dysfunction, the all of the trauma looping, all those negative emotions. And that is our best life, is clear and understanding our true frequency of God's source creator. And doing that, that's why it's like when you do the inner work and you get to that place of the self-love, which is just it's just you are love. That's what that is. It's when you clear and you understand that what that love is, which I call home, that feeling of home, that's who you really are. And we can live on that timeline where we're with the
Peace.
original timeline where we're really from. Yeah, we've talked about the trauma past lives, but we've had some good lifetimes as well. So we can bring that into this now moment too. So I know souls of people have had great past lives where they're a beautiful, peaceful leader. And you can bring that energy into this now to empower you to keep holding the higher frequency, your higher vibration.
That is a great point, that within our own Akashic records, we can
Mhm.
tap into talents that we've
Mhm.
mastered in previous lifetimes. Little children that are born and playing the piano like a master at 3 years old. It's a perfect example. But we can consciously tap into those past lifetimes and say, I really need the strength of when I was a warrior in that lifetime. I need to be brave and strong, or I need to be a great writer or a speaker. Lots of different talents that we can access and bring into this lifetime. They're
Right.
just energy, right? And
Yeah,
they're
because
accessible.
it's all happening. So we're in that night amazing timeline. Yeah, you that's why you can tap into that and channel it, yeah, and bring that knowledge into this now. There's actually there's a few people that call it quantum jumping, and you quantum jump into that timeline or reality. But all it is to me, you're tapping into the quantum space,
Right.
Akashic records. Yeah. Or you want to call it quantum jumping. Yeah, it's powerful
I
to
think
do
people
that.
do it all the time and don't realize it when they're daydreaming and they see themselves, say, on a stage singing, or they see themselves climbing a mountain, having these different experiences,
Yeah,
which they think is just their imagination, but they could very well be tapping into their own Akashic records.
totally. Because they're imagining it for a reason. So
Mhm.
that's because it's all there. Absolutely.
We've talked about the Akashic records, and through the Akashic records, reviewing your past lives. It can contain your wounds that need to
Yeah.
be healed. It can contain your talents and your strengths that you can bring in here to this now moment. And is there anything else that you think that's the benefit of tapping into the Akashic records, your own Akashic records?
Well, it just will bring more clarity. It just will bring more just groundedness too. It just brings more of remembering. Oh, because we're so bombarded with confusion and fear. And it's like we're getting so saturated right now because of all the social media platforms, all the news, all it's just it's so staticky. It's confusing. Then you get in the cycle of health issues and mental issues, and it's just part of this false timeline. It's not who we really are. And so tapping into your Akashic records and remembering who you are and why you're really here is that's what I feel can help pull you out of that timeline, all of the matrix that is not healing at all, and help you get real guidance on your journey here.
Yes, yes. Has a client asked you to look into their Akashic records to give them an idea of what their mission in this lifetime is?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Most of the questions are like, well, what's my path? What am I supposed to be doing? Most of the readings I do is, yeah, there's a bigger purpose. And that is most of the readings. Like, well, what is my real purpose? What is, and so but what I do say is that question is still kind of part of the false matrix. So it's because it's being who you really are. That's why the inner work is so important of clearing those traumas. Because the purpose, that's like feels stressful. It's like, well, what's my mission? It's just being. And then when you are in that clear channel of being, then things will just show up of what your next step is. Point is not looking too far ahead or trying to figure it out in your head and
Right.
following your joy and bliss. I know that's so overly said, follow your bliss, but it's true because so when you're clear in that and you're following what you really ignites yourself, what do you love doing? And then stuff will just show up. Universe will bring to you what your next moves are.
From an energy standpoint, when we're excited and we're happy and laughing, I mean, when life is good and we're feeling good, that's the energy we're holding and the energy we're in resonance with. So that is going to attract. That's a true law of attraction. That energy is attracting the same kind of wonderful things to come to us, the synchronicities, the
Right.
opportunities that just appear. That's why
Yeah.
it is important to be your authentic self and to follow your intuition and follow what really excites you. Whatever excites you, that's your soul trying to drop those ideas into your head.
And that's it too. I love that. So, because our higher self is always communicating with us, we're in a time where it is getting understood and it is clear. I see so many people clearing and healing and doing that inner work.
I think the natural frequencies right now are supporting us to do it quicker because that's what we're here for at this particular time is to really tie up loose ends and get
Yep.
ready to move into the newer, higher consciousness.
Hmm.
We don't have to be perfect. We just have to have loving, open hearts and be open to change and to working on ourselves.
definitely, it feels good. It feels like we're on a really good timeline, even though it doesn't look like it. Feels like the dark is grasping and they're at full force. So just stay strong, grounded, and just know that you're so aligned with your higher self, God's source, and so much light is coming in too. Things are shifting
Mhm.
because of so much light coming in and the dimensional space is happening and our bodies are like, but I feel like there's upgrades happening. It's a positive thing. We're morphing.
Well, my dear, we have had another conversation that has been really good for me. It's sparked off a lot of ideas. I'm wondering, do you have or your guides have any parting words for us today?
They're like, of course we do. They're really feisty guides. Just keep doing the inner work. It's all about really understanding about what clearing those timelines we were talking about, clearing the traumas. Like it's really important to be clear of those out of your energy field for what we're going through. It's going to be magnified if they're not cleared, then things will be magnified in maybe more of a negative way. So they're just saying it's just really important to know that you are light beings and sparks of God source creator and that you can do it. There's celebrations happening. So I'm seeing them like going like dancing and just celebrating because it's already happened. So now it's just catching up to actually doing the work. They're showing me like you guys have already done it. So just know, because I feel like everyone watching this, definitely you're already doing the work. So just know and are already through the work. If you're already still doing the tail end of your work of that inner clearing, I do see celebration and its success and being on that timeline that we were talking about of joy, health, peace, excitement, community, helping each other and supporting each other and just really enjoying being here with Mother Earth. So they're showing me that celebration. So good job, guys.
Thank you so much, Jemaa. I really appreciate our conversation today. And to all of our audience, we welcome you. This is an ongoing conversation. We welcome any topics or questions that you may have. Just send it in the comments below.
Yeah, because we can talk about any topics.
Right. All right, my
Okay.
dear. You have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.